Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Bold and the Beautiful sees Daphne Rose back to LA right as a huge bombshell drops, and I suspect she warns Carter Walton that he is going to lose Hope Logan very soon. We're going to get into why Daphne may suspect that Carter is destined for heartbreak and try to spare him some pain. So this week, the ugly, awful truth about Liam Spencer's cancer diagnosis, that's in quotes there, is coming out. Hope and Liam were just thanking Grace Buckingham for saving Liam's life. Although Hope was stunned to find out Bill Spencer paid $1 million for the surgery. Everybody's grateful to both Bill and Grace for saving Liam with that experimental brain procedure. But then all comes crashing down. Finn adamantly refused to keep Grace's secret and hauled her over to the Spencer mansion and demanded she come clean. As I suspected, not only did Grace lie to Liam, that is the tip of the iceberg, because Grace was also drugging Liam to cause the symptoms to mimic the cancer. I've been saying that for a while that I thought those prescription bottles had medications she was using off-label to make him weak and dizzy and cause the blackouts and stuff. Finn was horrified by everything that Grace told him. Hope and Liam are going to be horrified as well. They were just talking about Grace's baby-stealing, awful ex-husband Reese Buckingham, and how he caused so much damage by stealing their daughter Beth when she was a baby. And now Reese is back to haunt them because Grace is going to tell Liam and Hope that she faked the whole cancer diagnosis and cure to pay off Reese's gambling debts. And when Grace makes this confession, Liam and Hope are going to be floored. Liam thought he was dying. So did the mothers of his children. You know, Hope and Steffi Forrester were upset, not to mention all the other people who were devastated about Liam's diagnosis. They're going to be absolutely appalled. And when Grace makes this shocking confession, Hope is over there at the Spencer mansion with Liam because she has been taking care of him, which Carter's okay with. But things are about to change. Bill has been over there caretaking a lot too, because it's his house. Plus, there's a professional home nurse as well. But it was Hope with him when Grace and Finn stopped by. So, I feel like Bold and the Beautiful was very intentional in having Hope at Liam's side for the big fake diagnosis reveal. I think Hope is there for big coming storyline reasons. I think it ties back to Daphne return to LA and Hope's engagement to Carter. If you remember, Hope and Liam got a lot closer, and they were talking about their love because he was dying. And then after Grace did this miracle surgery, Hope and Liam shared more close moments and were talking about their past and how much their relationship meant. That also seems very important. And now, because of Grace's horrifying fraud, Hope's going to be there to comfort Liam as he deals with this shock. And that could begin to change how Hope feels about Liam and also about Carter. Or it could have Hope looking and comparing and considering how deep her feelings for each man really are. From the very beginning of Liam's tragic cancer storyline, it seemed like he and Hope were on a path to a reunion before Hope found out Liam was dying. You know, she had already considered reuniting with him because Hope realized her life had gone to crap after they split up, but she had just started dating Carter. And so she said, okay, maybe not. Then Liam was pushing Hope towards Carter with both hands because Liam knew he was dying. And so Hope forgave Carter. And then she accepted his engagement ring, which he proposed way too fast, and put on her finger. That was all because Liam's diagnosis, that was terminal at the time, made Hope realize how short and precious life is. And she knew that Liam wasn't a long-term option for her. But once the dust settles from Grace's shocking admission, Hope and Liam might realize their feelings for each other are true love, that they are in love, not just some sort of mutual love and respect because they're co-parents with a history. I think Carter's headed for heartbreak. And I think Daphne is about to get a big break. We know that Carter told Daphne what he overheard when Hope was saying to Liam how she loved him and wanted to be with him. And that got Daphne real excited because she thought, oh, Carter's free. But then Hope comes around and says, oh no, Carter misunderstood. I don't think he did. I just think Hope realized that wanting Liam didn't make sense for her future. But now everything has changed. Hope is going to tell Carter that Liam was lied to and is perfectly healthy. And Carter is going to tell Daphne this big news. And I think she's going to drop some truth bombs on Carter. I think Daphne is going to tell Carter that Hope only got engaged to him because the man she really loves, Liam, was dying, and that Hope was clinging to Carter like a life raft. Daphne may even tell Carter that even if Hope stays with him, that Carter is going to be a consolation prize because Hope really loves Liam. Bold and the Beautiful didn't bring Daphne back to LA for no reason. You know, she's clearly fallen for Carter, and she wants to be with him. Daphne tried repeatedly to get Carter to choose her instead of Hope, but Daphne wasn't having a lot of luck. However, things are changing by the end of this week and going into next week. And I do think Daphne might be able to convince Carter he's on shaky ground with Hope. Because Liam is alive. He's going to stay that way. He was never sick. And Hope's love for Liam never went away. It just kind of got backburnered while she was scared he was going to be gone. You know, I can also see Daphne cornering Hope and questioning her about Liam and her feelings for her ex. If you remember, Hope was jealous of Daphne's connection to Carter. But if Hope realizes that she wants to be with Liam, maybe she thinks Daphne being around is not a bad thing. Because it could soften the blow since Carter could just replace her with Daphne. That would be the consolation prize, winning the consolation prize. But at the same time, Daphne really likes Carter. And Carter just wants some woman to choose him. So Daphne might tell Carter, "Stop wasting your time with a woman whose heart belongs to somebody else and choose me." Daphne is waiting with open arms. And she was pretty convincing the last time she got Carter to see that Hope wanted to be with Liam and not him. Only that time, Hope gaslit Carter and told him he misread things. He didn't. And then, of course, they got engaged way too fast. Because he was trying to lock Hope down. In the end, maybe Carter will even step aside so that Hope doesn't have to hurt him by breaking their engagement to be with Liam. I mean, it would be nice if Carter was the bigger man and offered to let her go. And Daphne might even encourage Carter to do that. So Daphne may also tell Carter, "You know what? You should test Hope in case he doesn't believe what Daphne's telling him. You know, test her and offer to let her go and see if she fights you on it." So that's something that might happen. In the end, I see a couple swap ahead with Liam getting Hope and Carter finally giving Daphne what she wants, which is him. The Forrester Creations executive floor hummed with quiet tension. Morning light poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows, reflecting off the shimmering display racks and mood boards. Carter Walton stood near his desk, flipping through contracts, but his focus kept drifting toward the closed office door across the hall, Hope Logan's office. For weeks, Carter had been walking a delicate line. His friendship with Hope had morphed into something warmer, a quiet understanding built over shared laughs, confidential talks, and the occasional lingering glance. Nothing had happened, not yet, but it was enough to set tongues wagging in the halls of Forrester. Enough for the new public relations director, Daphne Rowe, to notice. Daphne was sharp, poised, and fiercely protective of the brand. She also had an uncanny knack for sensing trouble before it erupted. And right now, her instincts screamed that Carter was headed for a heartbreak he didn't see coming. When she appeared in his doorway that morning, Carter looked up, surprised. "Daphne, everything okay?" She stepped inside, closing the door behind her. "That depends," she said, folding her arms, "on whether you're ready to hear something you're not going to like." Carter arched a brow. "Is this about the HFTF campaign?" "No," she said plainly. "This is about Hope." "And you?" Carter's jaw tightened. "I don't know what you've heard." "It's not about what I've heard," Daphne cut in, her tone crisp. "It's about what I've seen. You've been spending more time with her. You've been invested." Carter sighed. "Hope's my friend. She's been dealing with a lot since Thomas left town. I'm just being there for her." Daphne gave him a knowing look. "I've been here less than 3 months, but even I can see the writing on the wall. Hope is grieving the end of one relationship, confused about her feelings, and still figuring out who she is without Thomas orbiting her. That makes her vulnerable. And you? You're walking straight into the crossfire." He leaned back against his desk, crossing his arms. You think I can't handle myself? This isn't about handling yourself, Daphne said softly, but firmly. It's about understanding who Hope is right now. She doesn't need someone steady, not yet. She's chasing moments, distractions. And when the dust settles, she'll run back to what's familiar. Or worse, she'll run away from you entirely. Carter didn't respond right away. Her words landed heavier than he expected, stirring an unease he'd tried to ignore. Daphne stepped closer. Carter, you've been burned before. Zoe, Quinn, Katie, you give your whole heart, and they leave. You deserve someone who's all in from the start. I'm telling you now, Hope isn't that person. Not right now. And if you don't step back, you will lose her, and maybe a piece of yourself too. For a moment, the only sound was the muted hum of the air conditioning. Finally, Carter shook his head, trying to clear it. I appreciate the concern, Daphne, but Hope's not like. She's exactly like someone who's not ready for you, Daphne interrupted, her eyes locking with his. You want permanence. She wants air to breathe. Those things don't line up. Carter looked toward Hope's office door again. Through the frosted glass, he could see her silhouette moving, probably prepping designs for an afternoon meeting. She laughed at something, a clear, light sound even muffled through the walls, and his chest tightened. Maybe you're wrong, he said quietly. Daphne's gaze softened. I hope I am. But Carter. She hesitated before adding, I don't want to see you blindsided again. You're too good for that. With that, she left, her heels clicking against the polished floor until the sound faded. Later that afternoon, Carter tried to bury himself in work, but Daphne's words kept replaying. Every interaction with Hope that day felt suddenly loaded, like he was seeing through a new lens. When she popped into his office with fabric swatches, her smile was bright and her eyes warm, but there was a restlessness there, too. Big day tomorrow, she said, setting the swatches on his desk. HFTF's spring line is finally ready for a presentation. I'm nervous but excited. You'll be great, Carter assured her. Thanks. She hesitated, then added, we should celebrate after. Maybe grab a drink? Carter's first instinct was to say yes, but Daphne's warning whispered in the back of his mind. Sure, he said slowly. As friends. Hope blinked, then laughed lightly. Of course. What else would it be? Her tone was easy, but something about the way she glanced away made Carter wonder if even she knew the answer. The next day, the presentation went flawlessly. Hope was radiant, fielding praise from Ridge, Brooke, and the entire design team. When she caught Carter's eye across the room, she beamed. Later, at the small downtown lounge, she leaned across the table, sipping her wine. You've been a lifesaver these past few weeks, Carter. Really. I don't know what I'd do without you. He smiled faintly. I'm glad I could help. But her expression shifted, a flicker of hesitation crossing her face. I also don't want you to think this means. I mean, I'm still figuring things out. About me. About love. About everything. There it was, the quiet confession that proved Daphne's instincts right. Carter nodded slowly. I know, Hope. You do? Yes. He met her gaze steadily. And I'm okay with just being your friend. She reached for his hand, squeezing it. You're the best, Carter. Back at Forrester. The next morning, Daphne passed Carter in the hallway. She didn't say anything, just raised an eyebrow in silent question. He gave a small nod, a silent acknowledgement that she'd been right. Daphne smiled faintly, then continued on her way. Carter watched her go, then turned toward his office. There was a dull ache in his chest, but also a strange sense of relief. He'd chosen to protect his heart this time. And maybe, just maybe, that was the first step toward finding someone who would never make him feel like he was about to lose them. If you want, I can also write a follow-up part where Hope realizes too late what Carter meant to her and tries to win him back, only to find Daphne unexpectedly in the middle of it. That could really raise the drama. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.